actually
That's
good.
not bad.
That was
I'm good at the
I think
voices,
it's more like...
man. No, you gotta pass. You gotta pass by.
Oh, okay.
He did it better.
Ooh, it is. It's a higher octave.
Give us a go. I was like,
You just sounded like the freaking the gnome, gnome meme. Ooh. It's visually gorgeous and incredible. You know, a lot of the stuff in the movie is real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's real planes and real G's, like Tom Cruise.
There was one villain that was worse than Barbosa, Blackbeard, and
Salazar.
And it was a female. Her name is Amber Heard. We lived there. It was Pittsburgh. It resonates with our city.
We didn't even live in Pittsburgh.
You guys, I'm making a point of saying it's like every other city in America. Dude, I can't take it. Welcome back to the Wacky Wonderful Wiseworks podcast, everybody. All you guys, gals, geeks, and goofballs.
hey,
We did it.
Guys, gals,
we're back.
geeks, and
We
goofballs.
made it through the freaking week,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and we're here week after Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
How was your Halloween?
Good.
This is right
It
before
was
Halloween.
crazy, man.
Oh, it's so
It
wild.
was so wild.
And that thing happened.
Sober October
It's over now.
is over.
Oh yeah. We probably should have used this episode to give a kind of a recap.
No, we're doing a live on this channel. Give a recap of Sober October.
What day?
Sometime next week.
Okay.
We'll do a live in the studio room, on the podcast channel.
Well,
Do a live.
everybody knows the studio room is that way now.
Oh no, it's in a different location. People underestimate the humor of a well-timed giggle.
Huh?
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what you mean.
So, I've been trying to tell y'all.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like a well-timed giggle, like.
I think you've been striving for this. You've been waiting to talk about this. You've been
I haven't.
thinking about
It
It's
just
been
popped up.
ruminating in
It
your
just
brain.
popped up.
Okay.
Look, a well-timed giggle can be a valuable thing, especially in mixed company.
Mm.
You plan a well-timed giggle someplace, instantly funny.
You got me thinking about the most awkward situations.
Yeah.
Just where you're talking and you're telling a joke and people are barely listening and they're barely following you and you're about to get to the punchline.
No, not a nervous laugh. Not a nervous laugh. I'm talking about a well-timed
I've got
giggle.
something to say.
No, that's a nervous laugh.
When you're an introvert, you're trying to add to the conversation. Hey.
Okay. Example.
You start laughing before you start talking.
Example of a well-timed laugh.
Mm.
Look here, fellas. The boy who lived came back to die.
You really like that one.
I do. Now that's on. Leave in the comments if you know what that's from. It is a reel, and there is only one fella out there who's done that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know who he is or you've seen it, give us a like on the video.
Yeah.
Because it went around for a minute. Now, anything interesting happened to you guys? Anything big? Anything important? Anything noteworthy? You guys really haven't brought no thoughts to the table tonight.
I'm trying.
I'm trying to.
Nothing has happened. Nothing.
Yeah, we're not doing anything. It's Sober October. We're literally just
House of the Dragon is over.
House of the Dragon is over.
Just nothing. What are we gonna do next Sunday? I'm asking you.
I don't got any
I don't
words.
think he's gonna be here next Sunday.
I am giving
Yeah,
up my
I will.
opportunity to
will?
speak because
I'm
I'm
driving back.
I'm letting you both fill the space with interesting things.
As far as like normal life goes, nothing's happened.
But no, things have happened. What is a piece of media that you have just finished? Obviously, we've talked about House of the Dragon a good bit. We talked about Rings of Power. We talked about all these other things. But, you know, like in the pre-show before we got recording, if you want to be a patron, you can sign up in the link below.
What kind of?
But we brought up Andor. Like,
Yeah.
what are things that are resonating with you that, you know, might be in niche culture? What's going on?
Nothing.
What's filling your brain?
I'm reading another.
Okay, what you reading?
The guy who did Ready Player One. I'm reading one of his older books. that he
Okay.
And what's it called?
did. Armada.
Okay. Sick.
And what's it about? Synopsis, 3 sentences. Get closer to the mic.
Kid who has 80s nostalgia pop story sees a alien spaceship that looks just like a video game that he likes to play. An old arcade game. End of sentence.
In real life?
Yes, like he's sitting in school and he sees a spaceship, a real alien spaceship.
Does it land?
out of the window, and it looks just like a spaceship that
Is in a video game.
is in an arcade.
And it's
game.
called Armada?
Yes.
Interesting.
All right,
don't have
I'll
my
take a
phone.
look. I'll take a look at it. And
do you know?
who's the author's name?
I want to say Clint something. I get the guy's name wrong all the time. I don't know.
Glenn.
Some Clint.
Gillespie.
Just the guy who did.
Glenn.
Just look up the
Ready
author
Player
for
One
Ready
author.
Player One.
Okay, I'll look it up.
Why are you looking all this up?
Ready Player One author.
No close any of his
Ernest
tabs.
Klein.
Yeah.
Ernest Klein.
Ernest Klein. It's got to be
Oh
Klein,
yeah,
right?
that's Klein. That's a long I.
That's got to be Klein.
That's Klein. That's not
Nobody
Klein.
has the last name Klin. Whose
He
name
kind of
is
looks like a. Doesn't he kind of look like a mix of Zach Galifianakis and?
Man, I love Calvin Klein.
He does a lot of 80s nostalgia stories.
Shut up.
Like age. What would you call that? Like 80s nostalgia.
Yeah. 80s pop culture, 80s
Yeah.
nostalgia stuff.
Dude, this guy, he looks as though he's on something.
Yeah. Do we have an opener, or are we just this is our opener?
Klein.
Are you ready for an opener?
Yeah.
Are you even? Have you even begun to be ready for an opener?
Yeah, we're just.
I don't know.
Do you deserve it?
I haven't been reading. I've been writing a bit.
What you been
doing a little bit of
writing?
writing.
And what is that?
I've been writing lore.
Okay.
Yeah, lore is. It's one of those things.
tedious.
It is tedious. I enjoy it because I like thinking about where it's gonna pop up in a story. And the other day I had a brain blast. You know, like Jimmy Neutron. Of lore, and it was poignant, and it was amazing, and the whole thing
Tied into
it. It wraps around because I was curious what to do with this one character.
Okay.
Because I know I'm gonna kill him.
You know?
I know for sure. From the moment I
You're
create,
too enthusiastic
moment-
about this. You're too enthusiastic.
I know. I'm enthusiastic because I'm. When you're done with this, I'm gonna tell you something I've heard about Martin. Keep going.
Okay. From the moment I made up
Mr.
this
Martin?
character, I knew I was gonna kill him.
Okay.
Right.
His job is to die.
But as I've written and as I've developed his character, I really like him. I want to. He's going to be the best character, the one with
Yes.
the most courageous, the best heart. You know, just good.
And you're gonna kill
He's
him?
so good, and and I have to kill him.
We've talked about this before.
But I was like, his sacrifice needs to mean something, and what does it mean? How does it affect the world and the stuff I've already established? And so he's not really dead, right? His sacrifice is true and it means something, but it's not irrelevant. It's not like when you kill somebody in Marvel and they just come back, right? Making the sacrifice kind of meh.
Mm-hmm.
It means something. It sticks around throughout the rest of the series because essentially to everybody he knows he's dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But he adds other stuff to the story afterwards.
Well, don't give too much away.
All right. Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
What's the next book in Martin's Game of Thrones series called? I know the last one is A Dream of Spring.
Winds of Winter.
Winds of Winter. He said he's 75% done.
Of Winds in Winter?
Of Winds of Winter.
Only 4 more years till it comes out.
He said he's 75% there.
Yeah.
So here's to getting closer.
Look, I don't know what George. I know what George has been doing. He's been writing other stuff, House of the Dragon stuff, lore stuff,
Jon Snow stuff.
I don't know if he's writing Jon Snow. He might be. He could be working on that. He's been working on House of the Dragon, and he hasn't been working on Winds of Winter.
And
it's been
He's
years.
been
collecting
working
too much.
also on what's the game? The video game. His video game.
Elden Ring.
He's also just finished Elden Ring
He
not
worked
too long ago.
Well, he worked on Elden Ring several years ago.
yeah, but you got to do the press tour. You got to do you got to talk about Elden Ring. It's coming out.
Hold on. Do you think he might be strategic genius for this? He's frustrating the crap out of people, but when he does eventually drop this book, out of how much has been built up with all of Game of Thrones out, House of the Dragon out, more stuff coming out, the fan base is now much, 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 much larger than on his last book release. Do you think he's strategic genius? He's like, when I eventually publish this book, I'm gonna make billions.
I don't think he's ever gonna finish
Some
A
people
Dream
think
of
that.
Spring.
You think he's gonna die first?
I think we're gonna get Winds of Winter, but I don't think we're gonna get A Dream of Spring.
Maybe when he says 75% there, maybe he secretly means like I have.
He could be. He could be working on
them
two.
done.
Right?
I'm almost done
He
with
could
both
be.
of them.
Wait, his Dreams of Spring, is that going to be spring?
That's the last
the
one.
last
That's
and-
the last. Supposed to be the last book, and I don't know if he's
After
ever gonna-
Winter?
After Winds of Winter. There's supposed to be one more.
Remember,
I don't know
there's
if he's
two
gonna
books
get it out.
under the Game of Thrones title, following
Season
classic Jon Snow and Daenerys and all these characters that we got a show. We got a show ending, but we don't have a book ending, and
I don't know
apparently
if
it's
he's
much
gonna be
different.
able to do it. Now, I have faith in friggin' Brandon Sanderson. I have faith that he's going to finish his
Just
book.
as-
Of
his name
course,
is Brandon?
because in a 2-year COVID period, he drops 5 books.
Yeah, and
they're huge.
and didn't stop working on his main series, Stormlight, and added to his YA series. I mean,
Wrote his wife a story.
He said in a recent podcast, somebody asked, how old do you think you're going to be when the Stormlight archive is done? He said 72. He said that's kind of. He's like, I've thought about it. I'll probably be around 72 when the last book comes out.
Well, he better start exercising. He's a little overweight to
That's
make
what
it
I
to
think.
72.
I was like, man, you
Bro,
better-
you gotta.
gotta get in some.
I
better
know you're
shape.
Mormon and you trust the Lord,
Yeah.
but he's gotta.
Yeah.
He's gotta do. He's gotta do his part.
Oh yeah.
And get in the gym.
I agree. Yeah, you got to be healthy to release all the books. That's the
No
other thing.
offense, but
And for all his
overweight.
wives
I-
he
72.
has.
I have no doubts in my mind that Brandon can write all those books with his writing ability. The man's got something special as far as how he writes.
Okay.
But I worry about his health.
Yeah. Of
You
course.
know, it's the same with George. I worry about his
Very
health.
worried about George.
Very worried.
You know?
How old is George already?
I don't know, but he's not young and spry.
George already, Martin.
He's not spry. Let me say that.
Ain't no spring chicken.
Oh,
Yeah.
Smooth. Real smooth.
it wasn't.
Good job.
It was clear.
Just ruin the end.
I didn't ruin.
Ruin
anything.
everything.
Oh,
why
is
don't
that
you?
why it's
I
monster?
didn't
Yeah,
ruin anything.
just destroy it. All
I
right.
didn't ruin anything.
We see all your
You're
tabs.
the one who just.
We
you're
see
the one
all
who
your
just-
history,
you were
everything
the
you've
one.
searched for.
I-
We could look at the whole
George
podcast.
Lucas. We have we're watching a George Lucas clip. I can tell.
Would you stop giving away
HBO
everything?
The Last of Us.
Would you
Why
stop?
is Black?
Would you stop?
Yo, clear your history.
I need all of these tabs
Close
open.
your tab.
I need them all open.
You got a
for
problem with
tonight.
tabs.
They're for tonight. I need all of them.
We're doing
Wait.
an intervention.
You were complaining that our internet was slow.
What
It's
am I
because you
supposed
got
to
all
be
these
Googling?
tabs open.
We
What am I supposed to be Googling? George Martin?
Yes. He got distracted.
George really Martin.
How do you spell George? George.
Oh my lord.
It's right there,
George
Lucas.
Martin's.
Why George Lucas is an indie filmmaker.
Just put George Martin in. His age will come up.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
He's 90.
That's not him, dude. Who is this guy?
That's George Martin.
Right there. Right
Oh,
here. George
he
Martin.
died at 90 years old.
He's 74.
74, and he looks like an old boat captain.
Mr. R.R. Martin, I don't
Martin.
think... I'm worried we're not going to see these books.
We'll get Winds of Winter. We will. And then, I don't know, somebody's going to have to shadow write Dream of Spring. We're going to have...
They better do it good.
Well, I think he'll have a lot of it. And he has so much
That's
lore.
such a big note. Is he Jewish?
Why would you say that?
He could be.
Look, there's not a little bit of Martin here. There's a lot to him.
He looks just like Feifel's dad, does he not? He looks just like Feifel's dad.
Five-four.
He rides around like wearing that hat like an old
Yes.
Jewish man, like an old
He
boat
looks
captain.
just
He's
like
from New
Feifel's
Jersey.
dad.
He's from New Jersey. Let's get to the first topic.
Okay.
Speaking of George, we're talking about a different George.
Lucas, apparently.
But first, I want to pose the question, and I know the answer,
Okay.
and I want to see if you guys know it.
All right.
Well,
I'll give
'cause
my
you did-
best
yeah.
guess.
At the beginning of every single Star Wars, a George Lucas story, we see this. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far
Fart away.
away.
All right.
A far, far away. Why a long time ago? This is a sci-fi, is it not? It's usually presented for the future.
Yeah.
Why a long time ago? And that's what I want to talk about. I did some research. I found the answer. I know
it's
why.
a long time ago.
Why do you guys think it's for a long time ago? A galaxy far, far away. Cool. Why a long time ago?
Because George likes fantasy.
Okay.
And fantasy always happens a long time ago.
Okay.
And he likes the idea of space history,
Okay.
space story, right? It's something that that already happened, and we are experiencing the stories.
Yeah.
Okay.
The samurais aren't today. The samurais are back in the day.
Yeah.
And Jedis are a samurai. The space samurai.
So, let me tell you the story. During the fourth draft of the Star Wars story, he read this book, The Use of Enchantment, the Meaning and Importance of Fairy Tales. All right? This, he claims, directly inspired and moved characters and story development in an entirely new direction.
Okay.
It became much more, as you said, than a sci-fi. It is
fairy
now
tale. A fairy tale.
a fairy tale because he understood what a fairy tale.
Who's the fairy tale?
It's a space opera.
It's an opera, but it's he understood the power and the storytelling ability that a fantasy can give you. So that's why he chose to go with a long time ago, because at the beginning of every single story, he wanted the people to remember, this is a fantasy. It's not just a sci-fi. It's not just a future story. This is a fantasy. A lot's going to happen. This is a space Game of Thrones, if you will. Well, it's different.
I think it's closer to like, I don't know, space something else.
Space.
drama. Space.
It's space.
There's always drama, but
I don't know. What,
it's a fantasy, dude.
yeah,
An adventure.
It's an adventure.
It's an adventure. And so he wanted people to remember that. It started with, after we read that book, it inspired different ideas for characters, and then that little phrase came into his head, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. and it's stuck. And that's why it's a far, far away. He wants to
It
let
adds
people
to,
know.
It definitely adds to the magic
Yeah.
of the movie.
This isn't just in a galaxy far, far away. This is not just the final frontier. You know, this is
No, I would say this is the final frontier.
this is
No.
a long time ago.
It also lends itself well to understanding the technology, is that because this is a fantasy, because it's like a fairy tale, we don't have to understand how things work. We don't have to understand how their engines work. We don't have to understand what all the buttons and switches do.
We don't have to fully understand the Force.
We don't have to understand, especially nowadays, why things are big and blocky in a future universe. It's not a future universe. It's not a highly technological universe. It's a universe with different technology that works differently than ours. What we see is things getting smaller. That's not how Star Wars works.
Correct.
Can I step still on this, but kind of step to? I just have a question. You know how most writers, when they're writing a story, they kind of write themselves in as like a character. In a way, what character would you say George Lucas is in Star Wars? What does he see himself as? I have an answer.
Do you know, or is
No.
this a guess?
This is a guess and a funny answer, to be honest. He sees himself as Obi-Wan.
Wait,
Oh,
really?
that guy, Obi-Wan. No, George
kidding.
sees himself
Yeah.
as either
Yoda.
Obi-Wan Kenobi or I don't think George is the type of storyteller who sees himself as R2-D2.
Yeah.
The one who the one who is observing
Everything.
everything.
Okay.
Right? He's not that kind of storyteller.
That's an interesting theory, though.
That's what I would write myself into as. I'm this robot who's observing everything. The story is it follows the robot a lot.
Yeah. Oh, he's in every single
He's in
one.
every one. You know, that's who George should be. But no, he's Obi-Wan Kenobi. He is the space wizard.
He's Kenobi.
Because knowing George, and I've said it before, he's created this world.
Yes.
And then retroactively made it his entire personality.
Or he's Yoda, and when he sold the rights to Star Wars to Disney, that's him going to the Dagobah system and selling his rights, and then living in the Dagobah system.
I think
because where is he today?
He got a hit. He got a hit on a story in a movie as a passion project, as something he loved, right, and something he wanted to create. And then when people wanted more, he had to write more. And he's not a writer. He's not. He made up all this.
and made a film. He's a filmmaker.
Yeah, he made up all this, but he's not really like a writer. He had a good idea, and then I think really just leaned into it. And you can tell by how much stuff he's retroactively changed, how much he's added in after the fact, because he never had a story to begin with.
Well,
He never had the lore,
He didn't build
right?
He didn't build the way a author builds.
No, but
He was writing screenplays. That's what he was doing.
But it's a poignant story, and it's really good.
yes,
But
he was writing screenplays. He wasn't writing a book. He wasn't writing a novel.
and I appreciate it.
So that was the answer that would.
It was, but there's actually some news I want to tell you guys. Apparently, Disney, the current owners of Lucasfilms,
Boo!
are getting a little upset at Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh, yeah, huzzah!
Huzzah! What a day! All right, if this loads, which you guys slow internet,
She made some
It's 'cause of all your
anti-Semitic
tabs.
tweets.
it's not on my tabs. All right. Disney advises Kathleen Kennedy to stop announcing Star Wars projects. More Lucas.
Hold. The Kellogg Executive Education Live Virtual Program.
What?
We can become
are you
executives at Kellogg. Us three.
Are you talking about this ad
Yes,
over here?
we could become executives at Kellogg.
I don't want to be.
All
I'm not
right.
into the cereal and the breakfast
Continue.
bars.
I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay. More Lucasfilm executive personnel changes possible. Okay. So
So they're
Disney is
getting rid of her?
upset.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're not necessarily getting rid of Kathleen Kennedy, but Disney is a little pissed that the Star Wars in charge, the bigwigs over at the Star Wars branch of the Disney company,
Jon Favreau.
keep announcing stuff that they don't execute on. They're like, we got 3 awesome films. Ever since they acquired Disney, it was in the plans that they announced publicly. You get a new Star Wars movie every single year. After Skywalker, the last film, nothing. Crickets. Just some Mandalorian, just some little things on Disney Plus. They're like, here,
Yeah, show
just
stuff.
pushing everything. Yeah, it became show, but where's our major motion pictures?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they promised motion pictures, and while Star Wars was going, while the sequel trilogy was coming out, there was Han Solo, there was Rogue One, they were releasing Mandalorian, they had stuff, they were releasing the major films. I feel like there was another one that they released.
Okay, let me read this. Ever since The Rise of Skywalker premiered in theaters back in 2019, Kathleen Kennedy has announced 2 live-action Star Wars movies. On May 4th, 2020, the company released an official statement saying that Taika Waititi would be co-writing and directing a new film set in a galaxy far, far away. It's been 2.5 years, and the movie is still not written. Okay,
Well,
so Disney's
COVID had
pissed.
something to do with that.
It did, but Disney's pissed that the Star Wars branch is like, we got movies for you, and then they don't execute on. It's like making a promise you can't fulfill.
get rid
You
of
know
Yeah,
what I'm
but they're
saying?
not even that. It doesn't even seem like they're working on them.
They're
they've-
kind of not. They're putting a lot of stock into shows.
They've announced movies coming from Taika Waititi, coming from other people.
Who's this guy?
They announced them, but who knows when they're going? Oh yeah, Lindelof.
Okay, so Damon Lindelof is working on scripts
Mr.
for
I
a
heard about
Star
this.
Wars
Wait,
movie, and this is going to be the next Star Wars movie. That's apparently Star Wars number 10, right?
What is it going to be about?
We don't know.
Oh.
We don't know.
I swear if it's about destroying another Death Star,
wait,
am
is
going
this
to
gonna be
lose
Star Wars
my
X?
stuff.
This is gonna be Star Wars X, right?
do you mean?
Did we get 8 movies? Would you stop reaching across the table, you foolish boy? You foolish little boy. Stop it.
You were getting on to
was
me.
gonna tickle him. I
You were
was
getting
like-
on to me for almost knocking his water over earlier.
You knock over my
legit-
computer, you knock over my water, you almost knock my mic off the table. In the middle of a podcast when I have thought, I'm trying to figure out,
You go like this.
Is this Stop. Is this Star Wars X? Stop! You sons of guns!
I just had to tickle when you do this. You got to tickle.
Is this Star Wars X or is this Star Wars 9? I can't remember the number. Star Wars 7, 8, 9. Yeah, this is Star Wars X. All right, it has to be. That's the new. That's the correct
I
number.
hate it.
You hate it?
I hate it. I don't want to see it.
Okay.
I'll only see it if they put Keira Knightley in it.
So
Boo,
we
ew,
have these
no.
fools
I don't
here. What was it? From left to right, you have.
People who've destroyed Star Wars.
That's right. From left to right.
Abrams saved it. He did what he could to
He
save it.
tried. He didn't.
tried.
He
He didn't
definitely didn't
succeed.
save it. But the more I read up about J.J. Abrams, the less I like him.
You think he's
He's
just a.
he's had his dirty little hands in every property, and now his acolytes are getting into every property, and they suck. The people who have worked under him
had
at
some-
writing,
wait, no, he did Lost.
I wonder
haven't seen
if,
the show, but anybody who would give a whole 10-season show and then say it was all a dream should never do filming.
Wait, who did
again.
Lost?
Abrams.
James.
That was his
Abrams
show.
Made Lost, and you're saying you're okay with Abrams?
No, I'm saying I never watched the show, but I'm saying if a whole 10-season show and then it ended up being a dream, that's the worst.
Flubbing any show, Game of Thrones included, after
Yeah, but he didn't do game.
right? No, but
Just
he's,
like I thought.
he's Jewish.
Abrams.
He is Jewish, and his wife is Catholic.
Yeah.
He sometimes takes
Pretty
his
sure she
children to
was-
religious services on Jewish holidays. Abrams. See, what is Kanye West trying to tell the public?
Anti-Jew. Well,
The Jews are filling Hollywood.
he yeah, I don't know. You we keep finding people who have worked with Bad Robot in everything.
Is
and
that his?
Bad Robot's his company, and they aren't good at writing. They're bad. Everything is
No, there's some good Bad Robot.
Mystery Box.
There's some good Bad Robot.
There's some. It's
Good,
but
do
it's
Bad Robot
it's
films.
few and
Nah,
far between.
nah.
type of Bad Robot
The-
No,
film.
we know there's some. There's also a lot that aren't.
I'm saying his style, he's got a specific style, but the people that have worked for him that have moved on to other stuff copy his style much worse. My point. J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Lord of the Rings. Rings
How
of
many
Power.
people
You're
are
right.
trying to copy Mr. Beast?
I don't
Everybody
understand.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, like there's
No,
at
no.
least like
I don't mean
4 big
copy.
guys.
I don't mean copy. I mean people that work with and for him do the same thing he does,
Yeah.
but worse.
You know the Viking guy that used to work for Mr. Beast?
Yeah,
What?
Nice.
I know.
What about him?
He used to work for Mr. Beast.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
Yeah. What we're talking about Abrams though.
Yeah. What's the point of this? I feel like we've gone off track.
The point of this
Yeah.
is that there are stirrings inside the Disney company, and maybe they're gonna give old Kathleen the boot. Maybe get a man in that position.
Oh, I did want to say.
That ain't
get a-
happening.
I did want to say, I don't think we'll get any good Star Wars movies until they get somebody else.
You think she's the sole problem with this?
Yeah.
You think
Why
she's sticking her manicured nails?
Fozzie's the blue Muppet, right? Who's the blue?
Fozzie Bear? Yeah, that's
no,
the blue
who's
Muppet.
okay? Who's the guy with the blue?
Gonzo?
Gonzo.
Dang.
I don't think she's Gonzo.
Gonzo. I don't know. What is
Her
she?
head shaped like a thumb. I firmly believe until they get her out of there and get somebody who knows storytelling. Yeah, look at that.
Oh, like that. There's her nose.
Until they get somebody who knows storytelling, because I mean, what has she done for Star Wars?
Not much. Just problems. And
Problems.
and she brought, Ewan McGregor out on stage to be like, we're confirming that Ewan McGregor is playing Kenobi. Come on out, we have Ewan here.
I would have preferred that he didn't.
Yeah.
Honestly.
After that movie, I would have preferred he didn't.
But remember,
Show.
that was freaking 6 years ago? It took them 6 years to make that crappy season.
Oh, it was 6 years.
It was
it
a
6?
long time
Yeah, it
ago.
came out 6 years ago.
They announced that he was playing Obi-Wan a long time ago.
Obi-Wan didn't come out 6 years ago, but they announced that he was.
Hey, no, yeah, I'm saying it took them that long.
Yeah, no,
They
it's,
weren't working on it.
It's been a crap show for Star Wars.
Which is why they're upset over at Disney, is because they keep announcing stuff to get people hyped. And then they don't fulfill their
Kenobi
promises.
was probably the worst show so far.
Nobi? That's a fun name.
I personally think that Kenobi is worse than She-Hulk.
That's a pretty bold
Because I
statement there,
had
sir.
no vested interest in She-Hulk, aside from I wanted to see Hulk smash, and
I'm
we
actually
did.
with you on that.
Apparently,
I'm
he
actually
did that
with
off
you.
screen.
He did
because his son comes
He did
in.
some smashing
He
off screen.
smashed off screen. What I'm saying, no, I think Obi-Wan
I'm
is.
actually with you on that.
It's a worse show because you're more invested in these characters.
Wasn't Ice Cube's son
Ice Chunk.
Ice Chunk was in it?
Yes, he is in it.
Yeah, he's in Kenobi.
And he's a nothing character. Everybody's a nothing character.
Yeah.
Ice Chunk.
Moving along.
Moving on,
I
but
guess.
I want to say this.
Patreon.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Cynthia.
See,
Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia.
You've been hanging
you're,
around with this
You're a
for too long.
patron.
You both say it like
yeah,
that.
I say it more.
You're a patron, and
I
we
say it
love
more.
you.
It's only weird when I say it.
It's so weird.
It's
you
weird
say
when
it.
I'm like, oh, Cynthia. And you guys
Cynthia.
are like,
Hey,
what? What
that's
are you
my
ta-
sister.
You guys are going around saying Cynthia.
Look, thank
thought
you for
you would
being a
think it's
Patreon
normal. supporter.
We love you. And if you too want to be a Patreon supporter and get a shout out on these episodes, you can go to the link in the podcast description and join the tier that best fits your content needs.
It almost sounded like you ran out of breath there. And if you want to get it on.
Look, we love patrons. What do we got going on over there? We got
watch parties.
watch parties. We got
Pre-shows.
freaking pre-shows.
We got exclusive reaction content.
and we got early content. Every single podcast episode is a week early.
I want to say this about the watch parties. There's 5 of them up. That's at the very least 5 hours
Of awesome
of movie listening.
commentary.
We have 5 already?
Yeah, we got 5.
Imagine this. You're
But
sitting
each
at home.
of those is at least an hour and a half. You've got
Yeah, maybe even
you've
more.
got quite a bit of entertainment, right? That you don't even have to watch the movie.
Hold on.
You can just listen.
Yeah, I need people. We need people to know if they don't know how to use a watch party, because maybe some people don't.
Yeah.
So how a watch party works is you go to the living room, you turn the show on that we watched, the movie. You turn the movie on, and then you play on your phone our little show simultaneously with your film.
Yeah, we
And
tell
then you
you
listen to us to give commentary while you watch the movie.
we
'cause
tell
watch
you
it
how to
with you.
sync it up and everything.
Yeah, we tell you where to go.
And we always try to find movies that are readily available on the apps.
streaming services, popular ones like Netflix, HBO, those such, Disney Plus.
Yeah.
We love you, Cynthia. Thank you for being a Patreon supporter. You're the best.
You're the best.
Now what?
I want to parlay this into some more Star Wars.
More Star Wars.
More
He's been
Star
watching way
Wars.
too much Andor. We should cut him off.
What are you talking about?
You're cut off.
No. Okay, but first, before we do that, I want to present you guys with some Star Wars information after this.
Okay.
But I think it's important we do this. First, I want to answer the question, how do we define indie films? All right? It's important that we do this because it's going to lead us into
Well, you've
where
got
I'm
the
bringing us.
definition right here.
This is from Wiki, and I'm going to say this. First off, before I read this, indie films is controversial as far as how you define it, all right?
What?
I'll explain it after.
Let me. I'll
Here,
define.
no, you read this first.
No,
Wyatt.
I wanted to.
Read
No, I
this
want to
first.
define it.
No, I don't
We'll
want.
talk about our
I
definitions
don't want
after.
But I don't want that to impede my definition. I
But
don't want
this
to
isn't
read
gonna-
this.
It doesn't. It's not gonna because it's already controversial.
Okay.
It's already opinionative. Read it.
This is gonna taint my opinion about indie films.
No, it's not.
An independent film, independent movie, indie film, indie movies is a feature film or short film that is produced outside the major film studio system. In addition to being produced and distributed by independent entertainment companies, or in some cases distributed by major companies, independent films are sometimes distinguishable by their content and style and the way in which the filmmaker's personal artistic vision is realized. Usually, but not always, independent films are made with considerably lower budgets than major film studios.
That's right. Okay, so that's a pretty good definition right off the
Okay.
bat. But there is room for interpretation. Correct?
I'd say that's pretty much what I would say an independent film.
You know, that's what most people say. That's the hard definition, but it is controversial. Here's what I want to springboard off, and then we can get into the minutia of what we think about independent films. Okay.
Okay.
First things first. I think Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back is an indie film, not the first one, which is A New Hope.
Why
But the
isn't the
second
first one an indie
Wait,
film?
Empire Strikes
I
Back?
have data to show you.
Data wasn't in that movie.
First off, Josh was like, quality joke.
Data's from Star Trek.
Okay, let me refresh this page because I want you to.
Oh, there he is. It's George, and he's going to be talking about
got
the
such
Hold on,
thing.
here it comes.
Shin.
Here it comes.
I made this thing, and
Here it comes.
I'm
He's like
George
General
Lucas.
Akbar. Maybe that's who he puts himself
Here
in.
it is.
Admiral Akbar.
was interested in doing a film that could affect kids.
I really
And
love
I studied
films.
mythology and everything, and I decided I'm going to make a modern myth, and which teaches again the basics of what you have in a society. Because mythology is there to glue a society together, gives you common ideas about who you are, about what your society is, what you believe in, what your God is, what your values are, and it's based on the psychological motifs behind myths. I disliked the business of Hollywood intensely. When I had that choice of Star Wars being a success, I said, I'm going to try to make a go for it. And so I invested in the next movie and borrowed money from a bank and everything. I had everything at stake. I did it primarily because I didn't want the studios to tell me what to do. I didn't want them coming and commenting on my work and putting their little ideas in there. And because I needed to make sure I controlled the vision and not have it be diluted by a lot of other people.
Okay,
All right.
so I went up and I confirmed that in IMDb, the first Star Wars was the production companies that gave to it was 20th Century Fox, all right, and Lucasfilms was tacked onto there. But Lucasfilms wasn't super popular except for what was the previous film he made before this? American Graffiti. So that saw some success, but not Star Wars level. So Lucasfilm had some money, but after A New Hope, it had a good chunk of money. Empire Strikes Back, 100% Lucasfilms, which is what he just told us right there. Lucasfilms is in itself not funded by a big corporate and this is kind of how I would define it, which I've taken some ideas from other people that I've found, specifically like Alex Ferrari and some other creators that are on YouTube. I think that a indie film can be through a production company, can be funded through even a bigger size production company, but the production company has to be run by people who are filmmakers, not businessmen. Does that make sense? George Lucas is the founder and creator of Lucasfilms, and he funded his own film, and he himself is a filmmaker. That makes this an indie film in my mind. The second one, not the first one.
I would disagree.
Okay, let's hear it.
His own company.
I would disagree. Not that the second one isn't an indie film, but that the first one isn't, because it is. I think it is.
But it got the larger studio money from 20th Century Fox.
It got studio money,
but it was mostly funded by 20th Century.
Yeah, sure.
Specifically,
but it's still a George Lucas idea.
Yeah.
It's a George Lucas dream, and it's not a lot of money.
$11 million.
And but they're working with what they had, right? And they're trying to do something that looks unlike anything that's been done before, and make it feel like not hokey.
Correct.
You know, they want to make it feel real, and the fact that they did that, they made people believe in these ships. They made people believe in this world on that budget with George's idea. I think I would consider that more an indie film.
I would lean towards what Joseph was saying. Maybe the second one is more than the first one because of 20th Century. It doesn't matter about his ideas or not that they're George Lucas's, because we could say that about anything. We could say that about something that has someone else's idea, and it's not independent.
But you could argue that it's just money.
Well, okay, it's
funding. Yeah,
he got his money for the first one through the Hollywood system, and it's what made it a potential success.
Yeah.
Then that disqualifies his second movie as an indie film.
No.
Because he got his success from Hollywood.
But the Hollywood system did not fund the second movie.
It funded the first one, and that's how he funded the second.
Yeah. That is
so the second one's not. Does the second one have a similar budget?
No, it's quite a bit more.
It's not an indie film.
Yeah.
But it kind of is. The thing is, Star Wars, this one took money from a standard, because why they threw only $11 million at him, I say only because it's not a lot comparative to what we saw like with, Steven Spielberg making it around the same time. He was getting bigger, more money for something similar. They saw, he did American Graffiti, which was a mild success.
Yeah.
And they were like, all right, there might be something to this, but we don't really trust this story yet because it seems pretty ambitious. So American Graffiti had a little bit smaller budget than this one. We're going to give you just a little bit more and see where you take it. But once he got there, he decided, he's like, I don't want to work in the Hollywood system. He put his own money on the line. He took out loans and made the second film,
all his stuff
which
back
was
to Hollywood.
which was a gamble.
But
right?
let's follow the red string, right?
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
George is in the center. Or
Star Wars is in the center.
George is at the bottom,
Yeah.
Okay,
right?
He's this foundation.
He makes his money from the first movie, right?
Okay.
And is able to launch himself into making his own movie. But not only that, the first one, which is funded by Hollywood studio, allows him the street cred, the name, the ability to sell another one, even though it is with his money. It's not an indie film because he has the name.
But then I counter with what I said earlier, which is what a lot of indie filmmakers believe, is that what kind of makes, unless you're talking about huge financially set in stone companies, which Lucasfilms was not at this time. They didn't have $1 billion. They probably had a few $100 million. You know what I mean? So you take that and you say, who's running the company? In this case, George Lucas. He is a filmmaker. He is using his own company's money to make a film.
I got a
That's
question.
like us saying Wiseworks is Wiseworks, got investing from Disney for $12,000. And we made a movie and we got $50,000 in return. Then we take that $50,000 that we earned with the investment. We paid back Disney what they invested initially.
But the
Now
movie,
we take
but
our
the movie
earnings
that
and we create our
But the
next
movie
thing.
that we made, let's say you directed it, that we made with $12,000. That's not an indie film.
No, it's not, because we're getting money from a big studio company. That is
but
at
it's
that point a
small.
Disney film.
It's small, and you're
in
working with.
collaboration with
It doesn't
Wiseworks
matter.
Entertainment.
It's in collaboration.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it. I don't know. I think it's messy.
I think 50%
I don't
of
think
the
the
first
second-
one,
Messy, but-
50%
okay,
of the
say
first one
this.
might be an indie film.
I mean, it's like a YouTuber that goes and decides to make a movie. They've gotten fame and fortune from YouTube and being on YouTube for years, and then they make a movie, and their fans are going to go watch that movie, but it's their money because they're taking their YouTube money and making their own film. Is that
Right.
an independent film?
I would consider that more of an independent film.
Well, it's basically the same concept, I would
So
say.
Look, however you
so
earn
we're
your-
defining an independent film as long as you are not affiliated with a big studio.
Yeah, that is at this point run by more so businessmen than filmmakers.
Okay.
Lucasfilms, this is how I define it. I agree with other people that do disagree with each other about how you define an indie film, because sometimes you get a crazy big feature film that gets put up on Netflix or put up on HBO, and someone's like, it's an indie film, and it has like 4 huge stars in it, and it's like, it feels like an indie film. Some people define it by the way it's made too, like the
Right.
style. But I think, where was I going with that? I think that an indie film is defined by who controls the money. Is it an individual creator? Is it a company that is run by businessmen and that's the executive, or is it a company like Lucasfilms where the owner is also the filmmaker or a filmmaker that is more interested in the craft than the business side?
So my next question would be, how much input did the studio have in the first Star Wars movie?
Probably not a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, besides that it was their money, it probably wasn't a lot, because it wasn't a lot of money. It was here, George Lucas, do whatever you want with this, and hopefully we don't lose that $11 million.
Then I would say that's closer to an indie film.
It's close, but I wouldn't technically call it one. Whereas with this, $18 million estimate, solely Lucasfilm.
Are we
That's
just trying
it.
to answer the question?
No, we answered the question. Now we're defining.
Yeah,
for
we're just
ourselves
defining.
and amongst
We're just
us
going through the minutia.
What makes an indie film an indie film? You know what I'm saying?
It's
Using Star Wars as
reasonable.
an
I don't know that there's a hard fast line.
Well, we don't have to get into the details of this, but like another example of a bigger film that's successful that people consider indie, but also some people consider it not, is like Black Swan.
Yeah.
Starring Natalie Portman and Mila Kunis and Winona Ryder.
Well, you talked about how an indie film looks. I would say Whiplash.
Whiplash
looks
looks
like
like
an
an indie
indie
film.
film.
Some
Yeah.
people consider that, but it has J.K. Simmons. It
Yeah,
has
it's got
Miles
some-
Teller.
Yeah,
some
but
big
corporate
just
money
names.
because
behind it.
it's got big names doesn't mean it's not independent. I'm pretty sure it is independent, more independent.
It can be.
Look it up.
All right.
Yeah, they've won, I want to say, some film festival awards.
That's why some people, though, even if they like got money from 20th Century Fox.
No, just
Indie
Whiplash.
film?
Oh, what am I doing?
He's thinking,
Whiplash. Where is it?
right?
Is it this?
2014. at the top.
J.K. Miles Teller. J.K.
You just clicked the wrong thing.
It says Whiplash and there's drums.
It's back. Go to Whiplash again.
We talking about this?
Yeah, right.
Miles
there.
Teller. J.K. Simmons.
Sorry. All right, let me go to the
No,
bottom.
go to the cover. Go scroll.
Why are we
up.
going to the cover?
Just scroll up right quick.
All right, those
Sundance.
Okay,
ratings.
Sundance is traditionally an indie film
Yes.
festival.
Yeah.
All right. So let me look to see who invested money into this bad boy. Production companies: Bold Films, Blue House Productions, middle of the road.
Yeah, Bloom. I've heard Bloomhouse.
Right of Way Films, don't know.
Click on
I've heard Bloomhouse more often,
Bloomhouse is relatively
but it's not huge.
around. But yeah, I wouldn't. They're not the major studios.
Yeah, these people have done a lot of
Indie stuff.
indie stuff.
But you're right. If you're talking about what looks like an indie film, you got this. You got I like this film, but it has Begin Again. Begin Again feels like an indie film. It's got Keira Knightley in it. It feels like an indie film. There are certain movies that just feel that way, and then certain movies that feel like big blockbuster things.
I think
like Top Gun.
I
Maverick,
don't know if it is an independent film or not, but it does have a smaller crew because they made it that way. They wanted to make the movie a smaller crew.
And some people make like Memento, directed by Christopher Nolan, one of his first big hits.
Mr. Nolan?
Yeah, I think Memento is an indie film for Chris Nolan.
Yeah.
I'm curious where he got the money for this film. Let me take a look.
Wait, did it say that the name is based on?
So check this out.
Yeah.
Newmark Capital Group, Team Todd, I Remember Productions.
Todd.
There's no big names there. You know what I'm saying?
9 million. Way less than 11.
9 million.
Go
If that's
back
not
up.
an indie film, I don't know what is.
Go back to the top.
I know what an indie film is. That's not an indie film.
What you
It's
looking at?
based on a short story, Memento Mori. Interesting.
You know, have you not seen this?
The short story?
No, Memento the film.
I've seen Memento.
I've
I
never
didn't
seen
know-
it. What is it about?
didn't
don't
know,
spoil it for me. I'll watch it.
I didn't know that it was based on Memento Mori, which means remember death.
Watch on HBO Max. It's on HBO Max. Let's watch it right now.
Just stop the podcast.
What did we watch over the weekend? We watched
House of the Dragon.
we watched the other thing before House on Saturday.
Close
The Alien, Close Encounters of the
Yeah.
Third Kind.
And
Yeah.
apparently Mackenzie has never seen E.T.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna watch that. We're gonna remedy that crap.
We
Probably
gotta
this weekend.
fix
Man,
that.
I will be there.
We're gonna
Ooh.
remedy it this weekend.
It's
Us three.
unfortunate.
No, I will.
We
Not-
need to
not yet.
watch it.
I've seen it.
We
plenty
need to
of
get
times.
some Reese's Pieces and watch it.
Why Reese's? You know how we went to
Joshua, why Reese's?
Why Reese's?
you know how we
That's
went
what's
to
in the
Lowe's
movie.
and they had free candy
I remember that, yes.
all week. They've been giving us free candy, like just giving it to people. And I've eaten so much candy this week.
You shouldn't.
So much candy.
You got to be careful.
Any Reese's Pieces?
No Snickers.
We've kind of talked about this in the
M&Ms.
past, but I just want to bring it up before we change subjects entirely. 20th Century Fox negotiated a deal with George Lucas to write and direct Star Wars in 1975. They provided the funds for him to be produced and released after completing it in the summer of 1977. For all the subsequent films, Lucas either funded them himself through Lucasfilms or borrowed money to do so. Blah 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 blah. He used 20th Century for distribution only. And then, interesting thing we talked about in the past with merch, during the original contract negotiations for Star Wars in 1975, George Lucas made the best business decision of his life. He negotiated the rights to all sequels and merchandising for Star Wars to himself and his company.
Yeah, that
George
was smart.
Lucas is now a billionaire thanks to
that's
those
smart.
contracts.
Residuals and contracts like that for something like Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's
Very
the thing.
smart.
He was seeing ahead, and that's why, like at the initial premiere for Star Wars: A New Hope, they had all these people in like these costumes of not Yoda, but like people that they're gonna see in the movie. You know Chewbacca and all these people, because he knew merchandising for this movie, these movies to come is gonna be out of control, and I'm gonna make so much money from this crap. And he's like getting under the wire. He's like, you can take a big chunk of this money, but give me merchandising.
I would like the merchandising rights to all of the Star Wars everything.
And they're like, and you're giving us how much for this?
Like, okay.
Like you can take you can take $30 million from the sales of my film and distribution, and I just want some contracts for merchandising. I just want to own the rights for that."
merchandising and rights. It's because the stuff he watched as a kid, like Buck Rogers and stuff. There was always toys for that kind of stuff.
The Shield,
Correct.
Captain America Shield.
Yeah, there was always stuff for, like, the comics and everything. He knew.
Look at him
That
thinking.
old buck.
He's over there just thinking about the future of his company.
He's got that little. He got General Akbar's, chin. Maybe that's who he resonates with.
Maybe. Any final thoughts of Star Wars before we pivot?
Yeah. First, the original 3, some of the best stuff on the planet. Number 2, it's Admiral Akbar.
General.
General Akbar. Commander Leia. Darth Vapor.
Darth
Jedi
Vader.
Master Han Solo.
Han Solo.
I gotta say this: most iconic sound and looking anything in my mind.
Lightsaber.
What are them's called?
Yeah, so iconic you can't even remember the name.
They are
Give us the sound.
TIE
It's
fighters.
an X-Wing.
Okay,
That's a
how do
TIE
they
fighter.
sound?
An X-wing is the rebel ones that look like an X,
Like a what?
like an X.
I
Like an
can't-
X. Star Wars X. No, TIE fighter.
Yeah.
TIE
What
fighters
sound
are
does it
incredible.
make? That was actually
That's
good.
not bad.
That was.
I'm good at the
I think it's
voices,
more like.
man. No, you gotta pass. You gotta pass by.
Oh, okay.
He did it better.
It's a higher octave.
Give us a go.
I
I was like,
You just sounded like the freaking the
couldn't do
gnome, the
Yeah,
gnome meme.
but Wyatt at the table, he's got the best Yoda
I think so.
for sure.
I could do a meme.
Think about
Yoda.
this.
When 900 years old you reach, look this good, you are not.
Now, Joshua, I want you to say.
In
Can't do
Yoda.
it.
I
We've
want you
done
to
this
say.
before.
But I wanted to go into town to get some power converters.
But I wanted to go into town to get some power converters.
Too old. He's too old to begin the training.
And who can do the best before we move on? I want to know who can do the
3PO.
best.
3PO! Where could he be?
3PO.
Never before has there been a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Scum and villainy.
Who could do a good Chewbacca?
He does that.
Yeah. Freaking pretty good stuff.
That's my R2.
He does that when he falls over. He's going, "Ah!" How does he, I wonder what that comes from. I think he has a special speaker for his screams.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit more juice I got for you tonight.
Star Wars juice? Or are we going off the Star Wars train?
It's off.
Star Wars.
It's off Star Wars.
Does it involve Kanye West?
Sadly, no.
Oh.
Guess what happened? Came from this man right here.
Cameron?
What's that?
That's
Why does
Mr.
he look
Kirk.
like a Muppet?
That's Mr. Kirk Cameron. Dang
Kirk
it,
Cameron.
bro. You calling James Cameron
looks
a
like the
Muppet?
You said
Scientist
you called him Kirk
wine.
Cameron.
Because you were saying Kirk Cameron.
Does he
over
not
here.
I said
look like-
Cameron. I didn't say Kurt. I never said Kurt.
Yeah.
I said Cameron.
Does
Does
James
he not
Cameron.
look like the little scientist Muppet?
He does.
Yeah.
He does look like a Muppet in that picture. But that's him working at Weta Digital
Yeah.
or Weta VFX
Mm-hmm.
and working on his new film.
Which
That's what he
one, the
looks like when
Avatar?
people call him and he's like breaks his focus.
Avatar?
He's like, what do you want?
Crap you want. So I wanted to bring up an interesting little thing that he said.
About Avatar?
He threw some shade at Marvel and DC.
Cool.
And you
Oh,
know
about
I
his
love,
Marvel film?
You know I love shade.
I can see Zoe, so it's definitely about Marvel.
I can tell you.
Well, let
man.
me
Avatar.
let's show this.
You got to
The-
get a tan.
the title right here. Here we go. James Cameron criticizes Marvel and DC characters. They all act like they're in college and really don't have relationships. What?
I don't know. I thought I was going for a comedic, well-timed
A
laugh.
well-timed
I don't know.
laugh. A well-timed giggle. So this is something that he said recently with an interview, I think, with the New York Times. When I look at these big, spectacular films, I'm looking at you, Marvel and DC. Probably looks at the camera in that moment. I'm looking at you. It doesn't matter how old the characters are. They all act like they're in college. They have relationships, but they really don't. They never hang up their spurs because they're kids. The thing that really grounds us and gives us power, love, and purpose. I'm confused by the way he talks.
They never hang up their spurs because of their kids, or because
they're kids. Yeah,
it says because of their kids.
Yeah, it's just bad grammar in this article.
Okay.
The thing that really grounds us and gives us power, love, and purpose.
Those characters don't experience. Okay, I would say he's wrong.
So
what do you mean by he's wrong?
I would say he's wrong. They never hang up their spurs because they're kids, right? Because
they're acting like kids.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Characters in Marvel and DC, it's his opinion,
well,
they're acting like children.
Cops are cops for, sometimes 30, 40 years plus. Yeah. They don't hang up their spurs because they're heroes, because they're doing their job, because, they're saving other people.
Okay. Actually,
it's often that.
And I would also disagree. Hawkeye did that. Mm-hmm. Hawkeye hung up the spurs because he was kids.
Tony wanted to.
Tony did want to, and also Captain America did, but it took him a long friggin' time.
But also, he fought for a few years. He came out of the ice and fought for a few more years. He was in his prime. Tony'd been fighting for a while, by the end of the movies. Mm-hmm. Cap had been fighting for a while too, and when he got the opportunity to hang it up, he did. That was the whole point of of Endgame, was hanging up these characters. So I would say he's saying this from a point of, I don't know, a misunderstanding the characters, because they do have legitimate, real conversations.
I would disagree with him in saying that I am agreeing with what you're saying, but I know what Cameron is saying here. He's equating it to more of, what Avatar's going to be. So it's going to be all about family.
Look,
he's on the press tour for The Way of Water right now,
and that's great, but
he's going to stir the pot if he can.
I don't think it's kind
not all about family.
It's not I don't think it's in good taste to tear something down to build yourself up. It's like, oh, Marvel, it just feels like all of the characters. But these are things he said. It feels like the characters
are they quoting him directly?
They're all college students. They don't hang up their spurs because they're kids, right? In comparison to what I'm creating. That's kind of always what it feels like when this happens. When Martin Scorsese, insults Marvel. It's like, number one.
He's a real artist. Marvel's, they're not.
Wait, you saying Martin Scorsese is a real artist?
Yeah.
And Marvel is not like in general Marvel?
I would say it's a different kind of art, right?
Well, it's definitely different.
Yeah. I would say the first, up until everything in the Endgame, right? That is kind of a complete chapter.
Yeah.
It's a book closed.
That's a book closed, and that
now
era
it seems like we're opening pamphlets.
Right, and that era will always be remembered.
True, it will always be remembered. The problem is that era has a few duds sprinkled in there.
Right, but everybody's got those.
Everyone usually do.
And I just, I'm not saying that he's wrong in all aspects of what he's saying. I'm just saying that it feels pretentious.
Yeah,
a little pretentious. Let's see some
other
stuff.
He made Titanic. He could be pretentious.
Well, yeah, he had two of the highest grossing films of all time.
I mean, it's a good movie, but it's not
like
that
he came out with one.
Yeah, I know.
He came out with one, and it's like top charts, and then it's like some other films are sneaking up there, and he's like, all right, let me hit him with another.
Yeah, he's like, oh wait, Avengers Endgame is beating my movie. It's not that great of a movie. These characters are all.
Wait until The Way of Water comes out. All right. So this is some other pretentious stuff he had to say. I'm not. Now, granted, pretentious is Wyatt's words.
It is my words.
I agree with James. I'm a James apologist. Yeah. If he wants to throw shade, give me a handful of that shade. You know what I'm saying? I'll toss with him.
You need to get out of the shade.
No,
you need to get tan.
I'm good right where I am, right here with James. James, if you want to hire me for marketing, I could work with you.
He's got better people, I'm sure.
Yeah.
No, I could do a good job marketing. Probably, I can make your YouTube channel thumbnails.
You can do that, yeah.
The Way of Water in large water tanks, and is filmed in large water tanks, and his cast had to train to hold their breaths for minutes on end so that Camron could film longer takes underwater. When asked what's gained from shooting in actual water, Water has opposed to more CGI approach taken in films like Aquaman and Disney upcoming Little Mermaid. Camron answered, "Oh, I don't know. Maybe that it looks good."
I agree with this.
So he's
allowed
being
to be
sarcastic.
pretentious here.
He's like, "Oh, I don't know. Maybe that
it
looks
does.
good."
It looks better. It
So he got
seriously
sass.
does.
He got a
Well,
little sass.
I mean,
here.
think about the scenes underwater in Harry Potter. They filmed a lot of scenes in Harry Potter when they swim down to do the contest. They film a lot of that underwater, and it looks better for it. It feels better for it.
Camron said, "Come on. You want it to look like people are underwater, so they need to be underwater."
Yeah, I agree.
So you've mentioned this plenty of times.
I agree with that.
The once and only time we started talking about the Little Mermaid teaser that came out, you're like, the shadows are off.
Yeah, but I
know
only
what I'm
have
saying?
one
She don't look like she's
argument
underwater.
for that. We breathe air, but fish breathe water. So
No, they don't.
Well, they breathe in water. So
They breathe in water
Technically, they breathe oxygen that their gills catch.
yeah,
from
but
the bubbles in the water.
we breathe air and they live in water.
the
So
molecules.
what technically
Molecules.
is?
Sick.
Water is made of oxygen.
I made a joke and you just totally destroyed my
Sorry,
joke.
he got all sciencey. Get back on that.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
Go ahead,
Fish live in
Carvel.
water. We live in air. So technically,
You're right.
what's water here?
Fire, water, air, and earth.
Oh, the show you haven't seen.
Avatar.
Holy crap. He knew what he was doing. Do you think the next one's going to be like in a volcano land? Is he
hope
hitting all the elements?
All the elements.
Because the first one was definitely air with all that dragon
Wait a
riding.
minute. Wait a minute.
The first one's air. This one's going to be water. Next one is going to be volcanic for fire. The last one
No.
is going to be earth.
No, you're wrong. That's not how the Avatar cycle works. It goes air, water, earth, fire. So they're going underground next.
Sick.
And then volcanoes.
And the volcanoes. They're
You're
migrating.
not wrong.
I quickly
migrating
equated
through
it to the Avatar cycle.
bro. He knew
Air,
what he was doing.
water.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing, man.
No, I agree with this stuff. I don't agree with like the superheroes act like they don't have real interactions. These movies that are about superheroes and aliens and gods, their interactions between people doesn't feel grown up. It doesn't feel like it's grounded in reality.
Well, I think the point he's trying to make is that they're not making real decisions that characters you can relate to would make.
They do actually in the movies. They do.
Or
They-
he's defending Marvel.
Adolescents.
in Marvel.
Adolescent choices that you can relate to maybe when you were a kid.
No, have you not been watching the movies?
No.
These characters make legitimate hard decisions.
I'm not trying to
You're just
back
siding
him up. I'm
you're,
trying
no,
to
you're
clarify
siding with
what he's
James
saying.
Cameron.
I always
You're
will.
just siding with James Cameron because you don't care for Marvel. It is tainting your look on what in Marvel is good storytelling.
Look, James
You're
Cameron
seeing
knows how to
more
make
of
a
the
dollar.
bad than you're seeing of the good.
James Cameron knows how to make $1.
He also
Every
made a
day
tree
make a
hugger
dollar?
movie.
He did.
I don't care. It was awesome.
He's talking about these conversations and everything when the first movie, if we're being truly honest, is something that's been made before. He just made it in CG.
Yeah. It was the look
Dances
of
of
it that
Wolves.
everybody-
Sorry, Dances of Wolves did it.
Dances with Wolves did it.
The Last Samurai
Dances
did
with
it.
Wolves
He did a movie. He made a movie
Dancing with
that
Wolves
had
had a better
already
ending,
been
too.
made.
Dancing with Wolves had a better ending too when he stands up on the what was it the rock
And
then
he's
kinda-
calling out. It's
it
a
had
better
story.
it's a better movie.
No,
Okay.
I've only seen that movie once. Doesn't the Indian that denies him? He said he's not.
Is he
And
an
then-
Indian or is he a native?
And then
Native American.
Native American.
yeah,
and
I
then-
was just rolling out here with hate speech. An Indian.
No, you can call him an Indian.
and then
And allowed to.
he accepts him as his brother or something.
yeah, Yeah, he
That's
said,
a beautiful scene.
He's a
That's a beautiful
I'll never
scene.
accept him in our tribe, and then he calls him a friend and a brother at the end.
Yes,
Aw.
It's beautiful. Have you never seen Dances with Wolves?
It's so
No.
long. It's such a long movie. It's
Josh,
so long, but,
Instead of saying it's so good, Joshua goes, "It's so freaking long."
but it's good.
But you have seen The Last
It's got a good
Samurai.
ending.
yeah, plenty of times. Same concept.
Same concept.
All right.
It's the exact same concept.
Sam.
What do you all think of what James Cameron had to say about Marvel and DC? Maybe it's valid with DC,
Yeah.
but Marvel.
It's more valid with DC
Do we got more
because they
Star
have no
Wars or
idea
we
what
just
they're
pitting
doing.
monsters?
Oh, Monsters next. Monsters next.
These better not be Star Wars monsters. I already know what it is. It's the Abominable Snowman. Yeah. Go to the side.
I'm not sure how
Wrong.
good.
It's a Wampa from Star Wars.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yo, you picked the Ghost in the Darkness?
Yes.
the lions from the Ghost. in
Yeah,
the
they have no
Darkness.
chance against it.
That's the Ghost in the Darkness.
The lions are
That's
the
what-
ghosts.
That's what they're called. The Ghost and the Darkness is what they're called. The Lions.
They have no
Oh,
chance
sick.
against this, though. I'm already saying they're
Wait, hold on.
I haven't seen the Ghost in the Darkness.
Hold on. These are ambush predators, much like a Wampa, who are working in their environment,
Correct.
again, like a Wampa, and eating humans. Again, like a Wampa.
Wampa Solo.
Wampa Solo, and it's big. It's, at least, what, 8 feet, 9 feet tall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this thing's huge. This thing's huge.
These are 4-legged. If we're working on terrain, I think we kind of have to take both of these out of their.
Yeah. These wouldn't
Environment.
survive in wild.
Okay, I got it.
But
it.
he wouldn't survive in this environment either.
Volcano.
No.
No,
If we
he would survive in the jungle. He wouldn't
No,
survive
he
in the
wouldn't.
desert.
He wouldn't survive.
Where
in the jungle.
are these guys fighting?
Let's say a white canvas
Okay, white canvas.
with a flat terrain.
That kind of sounds like the Sahara, dude.
No, it's a imagine like a grid,
flat terrain.
a grid, just a flat grid.
So horizon,
they're
if you
in
will.
the
They're in a grid.
Okay.
Right? If you pit these two
They're in
lions
Tron.
against him, they're both ambush predators.
yeah.
So we're taking ambush out of.
But I already said we can only count for one. It's not both.
No, it's the Ghost and the Darkness.
Yes,
They go together. They're like brothers
go-
and sisters.
Okay, that's
They're
fine.
brothers.
I'll say
They're
both.
two
That's
male
better for
lions.
me.
So
if
first
he,
off,
if he hits one of them,
it's gone.
I think it could kill it.
Well, check out the claws on this guy.
But they have claws that if they grab,
bigger.
if they take his legs out from under him and one gets his neck.
I gotta say this. Think about this: a bear, because he's roughly a
Bear
standing
size, yeah.
polar bear. Okay, we've seen bears do crazy things. One swipe, your head's coming off. In some circumstance, they get a good swipe on you.
I don't know if your whole head's coming off, but you'd probably die. Yeah.
But you see one of these jump onto the back,
They grab onto the
grab
neck
the neck.
and suffocate and crush and bleed you out. And they hold on. That's the good thing. So the question is, one against Abominable, one against the Wampa.
Two against the
Definitely
no.
done. Definitely
One
Wampa.
against the lion is done. Two against, I think it's a more even match.
Yeah.
Cause one's gonna have to grab it. Well, I think one of these is gonna have to sacrifice themselves
Which
to kill the Wampa.
So technically, I actually read this in preparation for this. These are not the same kind of lions as the ones in the movie, which we are doing monsters from films. Technically, these are not the lions I'm combating because the lions they use in the films are a less aggressive
Yeah, they
lion.
are.
But
These
it
are a
was
more aggressive.
The story
lion.
is what I was essentially
But
getting
it
for.
doesn't matter how big they are. They're dangerous.
Yeah.
This is a large cat. This is very
Cats
very
are
strong.
very intense fighters.
I think both of these together have a combined strength of whatever that thing has.
That's essentially a polar bear, which doesn't have very many predators. All right.
Yeah. This is I think these are both pretty much apex predators.
I'm gonna give it to the Wampa because you got to think about the hide the Wampa has as well.
I like the Wampa.
The hide is strong. Now,
How do you know he's strong? We never saw it. A lightsaber cut right through that thing.
a lightsaber cuts through
Like,
most things.
cut through everything.
But we only saw it against a lightsaber.
Well,
we
how
didn't
do
see
we
it
know
against
how
anything
strong it
else.
is? The lightsabers cut through metal as well.
Look at
Yeah.
how big that bone is he's holding. Think
Yeah.
about the size of something he had to rip off to get that much meat.
I mean, he's killing
Something big.
He's killing tauntauns
Tauntauns are like
in a single swipe.
yeah, and they're like the horse kangaroo hybrid of the snowy lands.
Well,
I'm giving it to Wampa. I think they're not big enough.
I'm a bigger fan personally of the Ghost in the Darkness.
yeah.
What do you think?
I pick Ghost of the Darkness, but I don't think that they would win.
If you don't think they would win, then I'm gonna
Not
give it
against-
to the Wampa.
We're giving it to the Wampa.
Yeah, I don't think they would win.
To be fair,
Together, yes, they would win, but I don't think it's fair to
No,
say
no.
two against one.
together they technically do not win.
I think together it's closer to a tie.
Two giant lions jumping on you at once.
Jumping not on me, on a freaking polar bear that has the
Okay.
agility of a large
The
man.
Wampa.
Even if he goes for one and starts clawing at one and gets one off, the other one has already sunk its
Yeah.
teeth into its neck.
I'm telling you, it's got hide that's harder than
It does
like
it-
an elephant.
It does
probably.
have
No, it has puffy
It does
hair.
have very thick fur. I would imagine.
Okay, thick
Yeah,
fur,
but
that's layer
thick
number
fur-
1. Thick hide, that's layer number 2.
I'd say these.
His
it gets-
teeth are probably like this.
Think about the
thick.
scarring that's underneath that fur because he has to fight things constantly.
I think
Scarring
his
is a-
hide
I'm
would.
already going with him because I said it.
Just saying, with both of these guys, it still doesn't beat
No,
I think
Mr.
it's
Wampus.
close.
no. I'm giving it to the Wampa, but I'm
right.
saying that's not true.
Wampa wins. Fatality. You
Now,
guys get that? You get that reference?
Yeah, isn't it from?
It's okay if you don't.
Is
Wait,
it from?
What did
No,
you
it's
say?
all right.
Oh, he said fatality. What is it from?
Madden?
Yep.
Sick. It's not Madden, you weirdo. Look, all right.
Mortal Kombat.
Remember, on the Patreon, we have a brand new.
No, don't. Oh, I guess. by
Show
Monday.
it to him, dude.
By Monday.
Oh, yeah,
I'll
show
try
them
to get
the
it out by
exclusive-
You'll have it out.
This is just one of the exclusive art
I'm not working on it
pieces.
till Monday because
that
I'm not
you
going to be here
get.
till Monday.
All right, but by the time public people that aren't already patrons
It'll
see
be
this, it'll be out. Check out the commentary that we have watching and reviewing and live commentating on the Gremlins over on our Patreon. Just sign up $4 a month. That's all you need. And you have access to all of our previous ones and all future ones. This is artwork done by Wyatt. Look at it. Appreciate it.
I always have a lot of fun with these.
Fall in love with
My
it.
hair isn't like that anymore.
Yeah, it is. I'm not going to change it again. I've changed your hair more times than anybody else.
Thank you, Wyatt, for making this artwork, and thank you, Joshua, for producing the live watch parties. And don't forget, one last thing we have on Friday night, midnight special that comes out every single week. So stay tuned for that. Kick off your weekend with your boys. All right, we love you. Thank you for sticking around. And
You're not kicking your weekend off with the boys. You're kicking.
yeah, you kick your weekend off with us boys.
Oh, on the midnight
special.
I think you're
Midnight
saying that you
special.
said the live. Check out the live.
You stop listening to me sometimes.
No,
and
I
you
swear
think
he said
you
the
think I
live.
say things, but I say everything
didn't
correctly.
the live is on Monday.
We got it.
The
We
midnight
got it.
special
We
is
got
on
it. We
Friday.
got it. We got it.
Yeah.
Chill.
Daddy.
Daddy chill.
What
Look,
the
it's
heck
clear.
is even that?
It's clear. We got it.